So it's Digital Evolution Thursday, and we're waiting for Brandy to sign on because honestly, hang on a second, let me get my little. I'm always standing on my yoga blocks because that gets me up here and then it gets me to be able to do this. So you can see my logo in the corner. So I had in my calendar that it was 9:30, and yet in my mind and in all our social media flyers, I put 9. Whoops. So that's what's happening for entrepreneurs making stupid mistakes like that all day long, managing details. So fortunately, Brandy can get here, but she's going to be here a couple minutes tardy. So let me tell you what we're doing while she's signing on. So what we're doing is, and I'm going to just go ahead and go over to Facebook on another browser so I can see if she's communicating with me. A couple months ago, actually, Brandy and I met in a coffee shop. And I will send a messenger. She needs the link. Okay, so we met in a coffee shop and we talked about getting together and doing something that was educational. Hang on a second. About social media. So what Brandy does is she has a company called Fiery FX, and that company helps people to kind of deal with their online presence, right? So we got together and we decided that we were going to do some type of fun, thus the headgear, topic that dealt with social media. Okay. And so on this first and third Thursday at 9 a.m., it's 9 a.m. at this point, we're going to have to switch what I have in my calendar. From 9 to 9:30 a.m., we're going to be doing a half an hour on my digital evolution. And so here's Brandy. And so we're going to go ahead and bring her on the screen in a couple minutes once she's completely on. We're going to be talking about domains today. And every week, we're going to be basically choosing a particular, well, Brandy's actually choosing the topic and talking about my personal digital evolution with Micalizzi Enterprises and Relentless Talk Radio. And while we're doing it, we're going to wear really silly headgear. So I went to Walmart, and can you believe this headgear? It's St. Patrick's Day this week, so of course it makes sense to have green headgear. So I'm not sure why she's not coming fully on board, but let's see. There she is. Okay, cool, awesome. Oh my God. Okay, so let me bring you on screen. I'm so sorry that I screwed up our calendar, and I love your hair and your headgear. That's awesome. You've got bunny ears. That's fantastic. So you're psycho. I don't know. What am I? I don't even know what St. Patrick's Day Medusa that blinks.
I love it. It's fantastic. I was like, ooh, that's very timely.
So this is a perfect example of entrepreneurship. I had 9:30 in our calendar, but I had 9 in my head, and I made all our flyers at 9. And you didn't realize that I'd made my flyers at 9 until I started doing Facebook Live this morning. So thanks for being flexible. And we will change. Can you do 9 moving forward, or do we have to change all the flyers? Oh, you there?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and we're having all kinds of technical difficulties. I just lost your ears. Hang on. Oh my gosh.
Here's an example of, and I'm going to put your name up there.
Okay, hang on. I got to switch back to my fingers.
It's a little nutty. It's like reality television. Let's see this.
All right. I can hear you.
Oh, we got kids in the background. That's perfect.
Oh, yeah. Working from home. Here it is.
So are you able to do 9 o'clock every first and third Thursday, or do we need to change all the flyers to 9:30?
No, we can do it. We can do it. I just have to update.
Okay, so we'll keep it at 9 o'clock. Awesome. I don't know. I make about 100 appointments a week. People get upset with me because I use a Calendly calendar. Sometimes like, well, can't you make an appointment with me personally? I can, but it's more likely I'm going to screw it up. So why don't we just go with my template? And then also, when you're making about 100 appointments a week with people, it really does mean that you can make a shit ton of mistakes.
Oh, heck yeah.
I think I might start learning this on a regular basis.
I think you should.
I think this is
fantastic.
fantastic. And there's a couple that like fall in your face, so I'm very Rastafarian right now. It's awesome. I'm a green Rasta, blinking green Rastafarian. So today's topic is, okay, first, before we get to the topic, we couldn't have possibly planned this.
No.
I mean, you and I met through Deborah Bateman years ago and have tried to meet to have coffee like forever. I almost rescheduled our coffee because I had so much flipping going on. And then we decided to meet and we put together this idea about documenting my digital evolution on Relentless Talk Radio. We couldn't have possibly known how many entrepreneurs we're going to need to digitally evolve with this crazy Corona crap that we have going on.
Yeah. It was one of those things. It's like, whoa, okay.
Right? So a lot of entrepreneurs are stuck at home and their cash flow just came to a screeching halt. In fact, many of my cash streams did also come to a screeching halt. And people are not going out of their house, and they're being respectful of what our government is telling us is smart. Mm-hmm. But the ripple effect in our economy is really going to affect the small people, like super affect the small people. Now, we could go down the rabbit hole of like holy shitness, right? That's the first thing you do. You go holy shit, right?
Right.
And then as entrepreneurs do, especially relentless ones like you and I, we say, okay, how can we add value in this crazy time? And what's amazing is that we already were doing it. I just can't even believe it. We couldn't have thought this up any better. So we have all the legwork done to help people to digitally evolve throughout this crazy flipping time that we're going through. We have a year's worth of content on the first and third Thursdays at 9 a.m. on Relentless Talk Radio. These videos will then be going to YouTube, where people can go to youtube.relentless talk radio to see them, and I will be getting caught up. The timing is just crazy. So I'm just super happy about our timing with the value you're bringing. I mean, what do you think?
I think it's amazing how this came together, and that we were having these conversations already, because we could just panic totally, but the reality is that there's so much more happening online right now. In fact, if people who are already advertising were it's a time to double down on it. There's so much opportunity that's coming out of what's happening that we 100%. Have the chance to like just view it slightly at a different angle and see how we can help each other. Yeah, it's like that's a different angle. Really see how we can help each other and show up for each other and find different ways to do what we do in the world we live in at the moment.
Well, and what's amazing, and I love that you're saying that there's opportunity, because there is. When I was in business school and I was in grad school, I learned about all the companies that doubled down and devoted themselves to marketing during the Depression. People thought that Procter and Gamble were nut when they spent. They just put more money into advertising during that period of time. And guess what? There's a lot of companies in the Depression that went belly down or belly up, as the case may be, right? And Procter and Gamble is a blue chip stock. And I haven't checked Procter and Gamble's effect on this, but I would imagine Procter and Gamble's probably doing pretty well because they sell toilet paper. I mean, they're selling a shit ton of toilet paper right now. So they're probably doing good. I'll have to check that out afterwards. Maybe I'll check it out when we're talking later. But the companies that doubled down and invested in their marketing were the ones that lived through this. And I think that right now, what an interesting time we're in. We're all sequestered at home and we're all on our phones. And the relationships that we build now are going to serve us later. So maybe people aren't going to be getting their credit cards out this moment. Although, I don't know, one of my partners is a food vendor that delivers food to your door. that's healthy for you. So I don't know. I part of me says I don't want to call people and say, hey, you want to buy my stuff? But the other part of me is like, this is perfect. People are already getting their groceries delivered. Why not get your groceries delivered through me, right?
Well, this is the this is the time that you can't just promote your business by saying, "Hey, buy my stuff." This is the
Yeah,
time where promoting your business is really about, okay, what kind of needs are there?
exactly.
How can I help people connect the dots between what their needs are and what I have to offer? So, for example, one of my clients is dog walker. She has a big pet sitting business, and suddenly people are working from home, and they're like, "Well, no, I don't need my dog walker." Actually, are you going to get up from your computer? Are you going to take your time that you would have either had be having lunch or checking in on your kid? Like, you've got a whole other responsibility. You probably still need your dog walker,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
helping people connect the dots, and also doing our part to keep people out of panic. But I
100%.
think this is where we show up to serve. Is not like buy my stuff, but hey,
Yeah.
if these are your needs, then
Yeah.
this is how we fit.
But quite
And
frankly, isn't that the way it always is? I mean, as far as,
it's the way it always has been.
but it's
But
even
the
more so
other thing
now, and
has
I
worked
agree.
a little bit.
Even more
Yeah, the
so,
other thing
even more
has
so now.
yeah, the other thing has worked a little bit because people weren't like in their brains about like, oh crap.
Right.
But now they're in their brains about, oh crap. So really nothing else is gonna work except for the way it always was the right way.
And I also think to myself, when I had my consulting company, and I still have my consulting company, and my lead earner was consulting, people would always say, God, I wish if I had more time, I would. And they've got a laundry list of stuff. And one of the things on most entrepreneurs' laundry list is, I need to digitally evolve. They don't necessarily call it that, but they're like, wow,
No,
my email's not working right, and my website's not connecting with my social media, and I don't have a social media plan, and
right.
and my logo doesn't match my paper, and I'm really all over the place, and my brand's all over the place, but I haven't got time to stop doing selling my widget
Right.
or serving my client to get back to this stuff that I know is super important, but I don't have enough time to do. So while
Mhm.
you've got people who are unable to participate with you, or you have a downturn or a slowdown, then you might as well repurpose this time to dig into your to-do list and digitally evolve. So on the other side of this, you're stronger.
Right. Well, yes, it is the perfect time to dig in and work on the business and get things put where they need to be put, and to spend some time thinking about it. I think this is the other piece that experts can help us with,
Hmm.
is that we can't always lend space in our brain to answering these questions or making the big decisions so that the rest of the decisions are easy. So yeah, just a little space to do this and harness. We get so much information at us all the time, and it's worthless unless we can really sit with it and use it and interpret it, and then make some decisions based on it.
I also think that this is a time when you can try new things out, like Be Live, or which is what you're using right now, or you can try a Facebook Live video. There's one of my yoga instructors. I've been trying to get her to come on Relentless Talk Radio for like flipping ever, and she's like, "Oh no, I couldn't do live. I just couldn't do it." Well, this morning she had her cat and her dog's butt in her face while she was doing yoga because she couldn't teach yoga. So she got out
Hmm.
of her own dang way, kind of like how I did 5 years ago when I started documenting my paintings, and I love that I'm blinking. It's so awesome. And I started documenting my process. It's like I had to get out of my own way, and in the process of doing that, I created something different.
Right.
So it's a time where people are going to forgive you if you look like a blinking idiot on Facebook. And you can go ahead and try new things and try new tools, and you can investigate where you currently stand, which is what brings us to today's topic, because we don't want to just talk about the past and kind of this wackiness the whole time through. So today's topic is taking a look at my domain, and
Hmm.
I have several of them. And we use Trello for our project management software. By the way, if you want a free way to manage your stuff, especially if you're working with teams, and I'm taking a look to find my little project here, then you might want to use a tool called Trello. It's free. unless you have the, the paid version, which has more bells and whistles, but we use Trello. And so today we're working on domains, and we have a little list of things that we need to talk about that I've saved in Trello. So Trello.com.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
well, I'll let you put it here.
So the big picture here is that this came about because you've gotten really clear on how your brands fit together and the hierarchy of them. So why don't you kind of just give us a quick overview of your brands and how they fit together?
So when I originally started my consulting company in 2013, it was called Fearlessly Deliver. And I figured there's no chance of any company, any consulting company having that. I did a search. There was no consulting companies that were doing business consulting with their Fearless in their name anywhere in the nation. And there was no companies that were consulting companies that had Deliver in their name. So I thought, I'm safe, I'm good, right? At the time, the word fearless was not in vogue. And then something happened, like in 2014 or 15, the word fearless became like everywhere. Like everybody was being fearless. I thought, well, that's interesting. How cool is that? It's awesome. So I was the fearless girl. I spent a couple years developing my brand, but in the process of developing that brand, I started to do the art of fearlessly doing business, where I incorporated my art in a project where I document the lives and the businesses of entrepreneurs. I tell their story, I do a blog, and then the blog and the story inspires painting. And in the process of doing that, a lot of artists were realizing, I don't understand, like I've been doing art for a long time, and how come her shows are half selling out, mine aren't, and what can she do for me? And so I started to do business consulting for artists. And when I did that, there's another company in another part of the world that has Fearless in its name that serves artists. And she sent me a letter one day saying, hello, I'm doing this thing and we have brand confusion. And I thought, shit, we do. But see, when I started my company, art wasn't anything to do with what I was doing.
Right.
So I thought, well, I think I have to rebrand, because this person is an entertainment attorney. She can sue me all day long and it costs her nothing, right? And I also realized that I had changed. My business had changed and I needed to change. And so for a year, I kind of was, okay, what does that change look like? And I decided to take over my father named our family company Micalizzi Enterprises, and he had stopped running that company. And I took over the name Micalizzi Enterprises because I have several things that I do under the Micalizzi Enterprises bucket. One of them is Relentless Talk Radio, where I talk about art and fashion, health and fitness, entrepreneurism, and philanthropy on a weekly basis. I also do special editions like this one, where I'm helping entrepreneurs to get their message out there and to communicate a particular topic that gives value to business owners. And then I have my art business, which is the Micalizzi Art and Fashion line. Okay. And because this year probably not this year, given the circumstance, next year, I'll be adding a fashion line to my art. And then I have a yoga business that I have, percolating in the background. I'll be doing yoga retreats. I have an auction site where I auction off art and other items for the philanthropy things that I'm doing. And I have a site called Choose Healthy Change, which is my health and fitness arm, where I am helping people to make better nutritional choices, and also helping health and fitness entrepreneurs to add a income stream to their offerings. So those are the things I'm doing. They seem like they're kind of all over the place, but if you look at my business model, they all link into each other. So I have several domains. I have Relentless Talk Radio. I have Micalizzi Enterprises. I have Choose Healthy Change. I have MichelleMicalizzi.com. I still have FearlesslyDeliver.com because I have a legacy blog there I need to keep up for the people that are tapping into that blog. I have Tavis Yoga, Fearless Auction, and then I have a bunch of other miscellaneous domains that I forward to that we can talk about later if you want. But I have lots of domains with different purposes, and all of their brands are separate. So just like with Richard Branson, he has Virgin companies, and then he's got Virgin Records and Virgin Airline and Virgin this and Virgin that. I have Micalizzi Enterprises with several brands underneath them. And each of those brands has a separate personality, but the thing they all have in common is me.
Well, and I think this comes to something that people I think are confused on. So let's just break down domain versus website. Because a domain name, if you get a business idea, a domain name is like $20 a year, maybe, probably $12 a year. So you can just go ahead and go buy your domain and have it. And with a domain, you can forward it somewhere. You can use it as like a shortcut to get somewhere, or you can just hang on to it, or you can just have email addresses at it. So I have fieryfx.com, and I bought both fieryfx.com and fieryeffectx.com.
Smart.
Just in case somebody misspelled it.
Right.
And so the longer one just forwards to the shorter one.
Right.
And I have email addresses set up at both. So in case somebody, again, screws up my email address, it's there.
Now,
so
do you have an actual email address there, or do you have an email that forwards to a different email?
Oh, no. I have, like, when we get into email, I have real...
Yeah, okay. You have some ideas of email. So this is what I love about this conversation is that we're going to be tying in the things that people don't realize connect, like your emails and your domains. So can you explain to people who may not know what forwarding is? Because you and I take that for granted because we're in the industry and we know that what forwarding is, but can you describe what forwarding is for people?
Yeah, so when you type in a domain name, that can just point people to somewhere else on the internet. So if I type in brandylawson.com, I think it may be currently forwarding to my LinkedIn profile. So you type in an easy to remember domain name, and that takes you someplace else on the internet. So forwarding is just a kind of like a shortcut. Right. Forwarding is just a way to have something that then, and like if you rebrand, because I started off as techgirl.com. So that forwards now to Fiery Effects. So it's just a way.
You had a brand change too. That's most people have.
If you're in business and you start to figure out what you want to do, more than likely you're going to evolve in one way, shape, or form, and you're probably going to have some sort of rebrand.
Right?
Yeah.
Like yes. I have meetwithmick.com, and I forgot to mention that. And Meet with Mick forwards to my Calendly site. My Calendly email is Calendly, which is I think hard to spell. Okay.
Yes.
.com/Micalizzi, also hard to spell, enterprises, right? So Calendly.com/MicalizziEnterprises.com. So if I go to a networking meeting and people say, oh, Michelle, I would love to meet with you. I say, great. Go to Meet with Mick, M-I-C, meetwithmic.com and book an appointment with me. Now, by the way, domains can be hearing this online. It's by invitation only. You can't just book an appointment with me. So if you want to book an appointment with me, email me first, okay? Or message me on here, and then I can let you know whether or not when to make the appointment. But I use meetwithmick.com to forward to somebody else's website.
Right. Yes.
I have groups that I do that are like the rebootcamp2020.com website, website, forwarded to a Google Doc where people can sign up to be in that challenge. So you don't necessarily have to forward to your own domain or website. You can forward to other domains, and you don't have to own them. It's just a shortcut.
It's simply a shortcut, 100%, and you can use it in a myriad of ways. So if you want to buy a domain, great, get a domain. You don't have to build a website to have something at the domain.
Yeah, and you don't even have to be sure you're going to start a business with that domain.
100%. Yeah, if you have an idea, you might as well get the domain because it's a cheap.
If you have a child, go buy their domain.
Yeah. Oh, yes. For sure.
One of the first things I did when the internet became a thing in 89, 90 was I went and bought MichelleMicalizzi.com like right away. Because although I had never met any Michelle Micalizzi, I had a good idea that there might be a Michelle Micalizzi somewhere. So I would sell blood. I'd go sell blood to make sure that MichelleMicalizzi.com is there. I also bought Intrinsic Optimist because I am, right? It's just one of those things. I've never done anything other than forward that domain to my main domain, whatever it is. Someday I'm going to do something with Intrinsic Optimist. I just love the words together so much. I keep paying for it. But I also have domains that I bought, and like I bought Fearless Pop-Up. when I was doing pop-up shows for artists. And when there was a conflict with my fearless artist counterpart, I let that go because there's no point in it. I might have tried to sell it to her, but that'd be gouging, I think. She wants it, she can go buy it. Dang
Yeah. So yes, so domains. Domains are just an address.
Mm-hmm.
What you put behind that address or where you send that address is totally up to you. So those are domains. Then we can talk about websites. So you currently have a website at each of those 7 domains, right, Michelle?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
kinda.
Okay.
Kinda. I mean, Relentless, do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that where you wanted me to go with that?
Well, so yeah, let's just talk. Let's just take well, actually, I want to talk a little bit because Micalizzi Enterprises is essentially your umbrella corporation. We're just going to call it umbrella corporation for the moment site, right?
It's my main squeeze, yeah.
Your main squeeze.
And that's the site where if you go to, everything except for choosehealthychange.com is there, right? So Micalizzi Enterprises is like my virgin company.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then Relentless Talk Radio is like Virgin Atlantic. And Tavis Yoga is like Virgin Records.
Right. Right. So Micalizzi Enterprises is a place where people would go to kind of see everything that you are involved in.
Yeah.
And then MichelleMicalizzi.com is like your personal brand.
Right.
So there's a, like, it would be like RichardBranson.com versus Virgin, right?
Right.
So that's the differentiation. And when people are trying to decide, okay, well, do I forward these domains to the same place or do I build different websites? It comes down to what you're offering and who you're offering it to. Because if what you're offering is going to be different for each of those websites, and who you're offering it to is going to be different for each of those websites, then they should be 2 different websites.
Right.
If what you're offering
records, you want people to go to virginrecords.com. And if you're selling airplanes, you want to go, not airplanes, but air flights or flying, travel, you're going to go to virginairlines.com.
And if you want to know what this whole company is about, you're going to go to the main virgincorporation.com. And if you want to know what Richard Branson is up to and where he's speaking, and if you can book him for a speaker or get it on his, then you're going to go to richardbranson.com. So that's a framework of how to think through it. And it can get a little sticky, but if you really hone in on okay, what am I offering and who am I offering it to? That can help clarify.
Okay. Well, we're a little over 9:30, but I'm okay with going on a little further if you're okay, since we got kind of a time.
Yeah, I think let's break down at least 2 of your sites so that people can see how we would make decisions about the website and then some of the technology foundation, like what platform would you choose?
Okay, so MicalizziEnterprises.com is like my overbrand. So when you go there, you can link to Relentless Talk Radio. You can link to Micalizzi Art and Fashion. You can link to me and my calendar. Okay, so it's like a overview of my stuff with like a slight blurb. And right now, it's a WordPress site that I built, and it's one that I've repurposed from before that I actually want to update and make more cool. Okay, so right now, if you go to MicalizziEnterprises.com, it has a little bit of all my stuff. And I think maybe, let's see if I can.
Well, as well it should. So how do people find Micalizzi Enterprises? Is it typically they meet you at networking events, or they know about you, or they see you on social?
When I give my card out, I'm going to see if I can share my screen. Yes, okay. Application window, your entire screen, okay. Okay, so there you go. So right now, if you type in Micalizzi Enterprises, it goes to this.
Yep.
And it talks about my wealth creation services, which includes project management, prospecting, relationship marketing, and business consulting. Okay. And then it talks about Relentless Talk Radio, Micalizzi Art and Fashion, and Micalizzi Gives, which is a subset of Micalizzi Art and Fashion. So these are the 4 things that I focus on in Micalizzi Enterprises. What's not included there is Choose Healthy Change, because Choose Healthy Change is associated with a network marketing company. And as such, it has to remain separate. It's a separate entity, okay?
Right.
But it is part of my my overall offerings, but I have to keep that separate to compliant with the network marketing guidelines.
Yep. Yep. Makes sense.
So then if you go to Relentless Talk Radio, this right here is a template that I have for free at GoDaddy right now. So when I bought Relentless Talk Radio, they gave me a free website builder, and I just tossed this up there. So I have a general overview of what happens at Relentless Radio, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can either link to a YouTube channel from here, which is YouTube, blah, 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 blah. But I have a subdomain that you can create in your DNS, which is like the guts of your domain on your domain where you bought your domain.
I call it the master panel. It's like when you have a breaker panel, like a DNS is like your individual breakers.
Yeah. So this is my YouTube channel, which is youtube.relentlesstalkradio.com if you wanted to get there on your own. But you can get there by going to Relentless Talk Radio, or you can get to my podcast, which right now I'm haven't put a lot into yet because I need to hire an admin to have me copy my audio over there. So right now this is in a holding pattern, but it's there if people want to go check it out, right? So Micalizzi Enterprises.
So Micalizzi Enterprises is a WordPress site, and WordPress is sort of at this point the master Lego block builder. Like you can literally build anything you want with WordPress.
Yep.
And it's becoming simpler to get started, but it's still a platform that requires quite a bit of ongoing maintenance.
Yes.
And one of the reasons you would choose WordPress is you want something that will really grow with you. Yeah. One of the reasons you would choose WordPress is because you need heavy search engine optimization, because people are going to be looking for you, not just your name. You should be able to optimize any platform for people to find you with your name. But if you wanted people to, like the pet sitting business, people understand that if they need a dog walker, probably the first place they're going to go is Google, right? So she relies heavily on getting traffic from search engines. You at this point probably don't rely heavily on getting traffic from search engines, but you probably do want something that will continue to grow and evolve with you. Yep. So I think WordPress, and you already have a WordPress site. Like at this point,
what I'll probably do with this site is eventually change my template or not. I don't know. I mean, at this point, it works perfectly fine, right? I don't need to create work for myself that is unnecessary, right?
Yes.
But
yes.
if
it's working, and
radio, right now, this is a template where I'm just. It's a builder that I chose from GoDaddy. That's just basically they say, hey, just dump your verbiage in here, and we'll build something for you. And it's very simple. The problem with this is it's not very dynamic. So this is a one-page thing. People can email me. They can link to my stuff. Eventually, I'm going to want a more dynamic, or not, I don't know, website for Relentless Radio.
This goes back to what you're offering it to, and this is.
Yeah.
If this web is
Oh, you're breaking up.
Am I?
Yeah, say it again.
Oh, if this website is just lead capturing, or if this website right now, people come here, and then you send them other places.
Right. So this basically is my Relentless Talk Radio lives on Facebook primarily, and then I put the videos on YouTube so folks who are not on Facebook can read it. And then what will happen is the audio will go to podcasts, and then I'll be applying for iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, etc.
Yeah.
So my goal with Relentless Talk Radio is to build traffic on my social media platforms. It's not to build my website up to. My website needs to be there to give. It's like brochureware, and it needs to be searchable. And I do want to do some SEO for it so people can find it. But essentially, the website is really driving people to my social media platforms.
Well, and people would find it by searching either your name or Relentless Talk Radio. And in that case, all platforms are fine.
Right.
And so at this point, this is a very fine solution. This probably gets you through the next 12 to 18 months just fine. You probably will update the content as things evolve, and making sure that it's converting, and converting simply means that when people are coming to the site, they're doing what you want them to do. So if it's to go to
radio, I want them to go to Facebook and listen. Now,
great.
one of the sites that we didn't mention, which I think we should, is my Micalizzi Art and Fashion site. Okay. And this is a WordPress template that I just tossed together. It's on a free hosting platform at GoDaddy right now because my hosting account is currently full because it houses Micalizzi Enterprises and Fearlessly Deliver. And when I initially bought the hosting, it was unlimited space, and then GoDaddy changed their parameters. And so I need to make a decision on potentially doing something different with my hosting or not, don't know. But what this is another simple site, and it talks about my Micalizzi Gives campaign, and it talks about my Fearless art projects. So the art is another stream of revenue for me, but it's also a passion project. So the main sites that I'm developing one way or the other are Micalizzi Enterprises, Relentless Talk Radio, and MichelleMicalizzi.com. And the goal of MichelleMicalizzi.com is to give people a place to go, for example, to learn about the charities that I'm supporting. So for example, here's Amanda Hope. Last year I did a project with them, and you can actually go buy swag. And of course, I discovered last week that, and I'm glad to share. Oh, there it is. So I made this painting for them. It was inspired by Amanda, the young woman who passed away. She was a sea turtle lover. So people can go here and buy things, and 50% of the proceeds go to Amanda Hope. And so I'm doing that for lots of charities this year. So what the main purpose of MichelleMicalizzi.com is to give people, the charities that I work with, a place to link to be able to learn about the project and buy swag. The other thing it does is it allows me to talk about my Fearless art projects, and it will be housing the blog in the coming months. So I have to add a blog to this year, and it links to the profiles for each one of my people. So for example, I interviewed Heidi Jananga last year from WebPT, and this was the painting that sold, by the way. This is one of the ones that sold. Yay, Mary Contreras has it in her office in Tempe. And it was in a painting that was inspired by a conversation that I had with Heidi, and her video is there, okay? And then a blog on things that you can learn from her. And this links to Micalizzi Enterprises, right, which is where my blog is living right now. So I need to, in the future, it's okay that this is linked to where the blog used to be, which is MichelleMicalizziEnterprises.com. But this year, so here's an example of forwarding, right? This is MicalizziEnterprises.com. But what I did was, from within my site, this link forwards to a different site. People don't realize that when they're on the site, but it does. So this year, my blog needs to be an option here, because I'll be doing another Fearless art project, and Micalizzi Gives, and I'll want my blog to live here on MichelleMicalizzi.com. So one of the things that I need to decide is this the right WordPress template? Am I going to use WordPress for this blog? And if so, I need to build the blog into the site.
Well, and so the blog conversation is, if you are going to be regularly creating content in blog format, WordPress is an excellent choice, because it makes that easy. It makes it searchable. There's a lot of upsides. Now, a lot of the other builders have blog capabilities. So it's not like if you're going to have a blog, you have to choose WordPress. But since you already have WordPress, you can, like, putting blog on a WordPress site is about creating a post and putting it in the menu. Like that's pretty straightforward.
But I think what I do want to do is I want to update this template so it's a little cooler.
Well, and so this is also where things are changing in the builder world, in that it used to be like the template you chose was sort of the Lego kit you had to use, and you only had those Legos. And now WordPress is really evolving, and how you customize the site is getting much more, like, page builders are becoming much more the way that you create.
So you're saying Beaver Builder, which is the page builder that I'm using, as a good use.
Yes. And Beaver Builder has lots of layouts. And so this is where the terminology kind of gets a little fuzzy. But Builder has lots of layouts that you can pull in that will basically give you a framework for your content to make it feel more modern, right?
Right.
Because that's sort of where because the other thing you want to think about is that people are also viewing your site on multiple devices. And when you use a builder like GoDaddy or Wix or Weebly or Squarespace, they're kind of managing the mobile experience for you. It works pretty well. With WordPress, usually there's a lot more control you have over both of those, but it can be more work. So also just knowing that WordPress has a lot of power, it sometimes requires a little bit more work.
So this has been like right now I went into Micalizzi Enterprises, okay, which does have Beaver Builder in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, this is where the sticking point has been, because Beaver Builder, like I want it to work like Photoshop or like Illustrator does.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't. And I know that because, and I'm really grateful it doesn't work like HTML used to work, because that was really aggravating, okay, when I had to write code. So now it's like, okay, like right now I just went into these are the pages that I have within that site, everybody, okay? And here's my blog. Well, I can edit it in the old-fashioned way, which is what it was before I had Beaver Builder. But what it goes to this launch Beaver Builder or use a standard editor. So this is the standard editor. Let's see if it lets me do it. What did it say?
Well, so the blog page is a special page in WordPress.
Right.
The blog page is an index, which means it's pulling content in from your individual blog posts.
Right.
So you actually do not want to editing that in the standard WordPress editor is asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Because it's a special page. But Beaver Builder allows you to change the template, like the layout blocks that WordPress is pulling that information from.
So I'll just go ahead and launch the Beaver Builder there. And that's changed a little bit since before Beaver Builder, because before, a year ago when I was blogging regularly, prior to all the changes in my life, I was just using the standard editor.
Well, and so standard editor on individual blog posts is great. Yeah.
Right.
But the blog index, the place that lists all of your blog posts automatically, that you would probably put in the menu, that page is a special page, because the index, every time you create a blog, you're not then going to the blog index and putting the blog in there. You expect it just to show up magically, right?
Right.
So that's what makes it a special page, is that in order for it to show up magically, it has to have some different logic on that page that you wouldn't be editing the index with a special editor. For sure, creating blog posts, yes.
Which we're going to cover in a separate episode.
Right. Yes.
Right. So this for people, for the purpose of this conversation, in WordPress, there's this thing called Beaver Builder. And Beaver Builder is a template that allows you to create the look and feel of that area that you're working on in the way that you like it to be, right?
So Beaver Builder is a category of tools called the page builder.
Right.
There's Divi, there's Elementor, there's a lot of page builders.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, WordPress itself is trying to change to a page builder with what they're doing in their own thing.
Right.
But a page builder allows you we call it drag and drop, but basically you don't have to write code and you don't have to know CSS to go in and change things and create elements and put things where you want them in the page. So the page builder allows you to do that. And then page builders can also give you the ability to customize the whole template structure. So here on the blog index page, you could move elements around or use Beaver Builder's existing layouts to get a layout that you want. So you can turn things on and off, like if you want author to show up or you don't want author to show up, if you want date to show up or if you don't want date, if you want the picture to the right or the picture to the left or the picture up or the picture, there's controls for that, so that you can choose that. And typically they'll have layouts or other ways to do that.
So I think it's cool that, and here's an example of Trello, right? This is actually probably good. Where we're talking about, I think we had today's topic, which is to review my websites, right?
Yep.
So we talked about domains versus websites and hosting platforms you choose. And we
Hmm.
talked about struggles and gathering information, not yet so much, right? Insights and how I got here, we talked about, and how each one is currently being used. So the struggle part, and we've kind of talked about that a little bit, right? Are we ready to go there?
Sure.
Okay. So one last thing I wanted to say before we go there is that a Beaver Builder or WordPress is what they call a WYSIWYG, right?
So, ish,
So
like
what
what
you
you see
see
is
is
what
what
you
you
get
get.
is is becoming less used, but that's essentially it. And many of the builders allow you to have like two ways to look at what you're building.
Mhm.
One is sort of an outline or a framework. It's got boxes,
Right.
and you can, because sometimes that's easier for moving things around.
Right.
But then it has a front end look, or basically you look at the page exactly how it looks, and
Right.
you edit it from that, which is more the WYSIWYG.
Okay. Cool. So WYSIWYG is more like what I have at GoDaddy.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The
Which is a
the
real kind of
the
like very simple. Anybody could do it. You just drop copy into a box, and then GoDaddy's template is builds you a self kind of decided web page. And the reason why I chose to put Relentless Talk Radio and Tavis Yoga on a web builder like that was because I just wanted something up there. I wanted to do it quick. I wanted some information. So if someone said, Michelle, what do you do with Tavis Yoga? I could tell them. Right now that's on
Mhm.
hold, but I have it there. I wanted a placeholder. So if people were searching, I wanted to kind of start to build stuff. With WordPress, I wanted more ability to be able to add content, work with search engine optimization, which is having people find me if I wanted them to. And I wanted to be able to have some more dynamic design ability. And I wanted to be able to blog on a more dynamic level.
Mhm.
And so that's why I use WordPress for Fearless to Deliver, Michelle Micalizzi Enterprises, and MichelleMicalizzi.com, because I wanted the blogging piece of it. With Relentless Talk Radio and Tavis Yoga, I just needed something in there that was kind of like a brochure, something I just would hand somebody, like a paper brochure, but it was digital. So right now, all my websites are doing what they should be doing in their current state of evolution, but
Mhm.
I'm evolving, and
Right.
I'm deciding to move my blog away from my over brand and into MichelleMicalizzi.com, because MichelleMicalizzi.com is where my art and fashion lives. And
Well,
my
and
writing
you
is my
might,
art.
well, so, and blogs are blogs are just containers, and what you
Yep.
put in the blog really makes it. So if everything right now in your blog is related to your art, then it makes sense to move it to
Yep.
MichelleMicalizzi.com. But that doesn't mean you wouldn't maybe also have a blog that lived on
Oh, sure.
MichelleZenterprises.com that
But that
talked
was
about
business
the
only and
things that you were doing,
networking or whatever.
or right, or the upcoming events. So like you could use it a little bit like press releases, you could use it a little bit like um, what's going on, and making sure
Right.
that the audience that was coming to Michelle's Enterprises had the information that they needed. So blogs can be used in many different ways. You just happen to have a set of content
Yep.
that needs to be moved to its appropriate home.
And when I originally started my blog, it was to grow my business side. Because the
Hmm.
reason why I started to do the art of fearlessly doing business was to get a way to get business owners to get to know me, like me, and trust me. So they would give me a project or refer me a project. And the way I was
Right.
doing that was making the project all about them. But then what happened was I was an artist, and I started to realize that I'm an artist and my muse are entrepreneurs. And the main product of those projects has become the art, not the consulting project, as far as sales are concerned. And that the relationship building was not just about getting a project, it was about just merely creating relationships. My marketing tool for my consulting company became a piece of social practice art, independent on its own. And I
Hmm.
decided to move it away from my consulting and my project management and my prospecting, And I didn't want it to be part of Relentless Talk Radio, which is all about those 4 pillars: art and fashion, health and fitness, entrepreneurism, and philanthropy. I wanted it to be all about me and the way that I make art. So I moved that. That's been the biggest awareness for me, is the difference between me, the businesswoman, consultant, project manager, wealth creation, health and fitness expert, right? And me, the radio talk show host, and me, the artist.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as under the subcategory of health and fitness, Choose Healthy Change goes to my health and fitness, my nutrition website, which is built by someone else completely.
Right.
So I am a polypreneur. The way I make money is very different. So of course, the way my sites are set up are going to be very different.
Right. And so just like to kind of wrap back around to how each of our viewers can be thinking about this for themselves, is being really clear about what they're offering and who they're offering it to, and what the role of the website is in their business. Because the website's role will be different from different businesses, and it will possibly may change over time. So just kind of looking at where you are for the next 12 to 24 months. What is the role of the website? And that was what you were thinking. Okay, I just need a place to send somebody so they can understand what I'm doing.
Right.
And maybe that will evolve to, and then say that they're interested, or book an appointment with me. So just being clear about the role of the website then can help you make the evaluation of what's appropriate. Because honestly, if you are just starting out, or you just making a pivot and you just bought a domain and you're like, oh crap, I got to create a site. Not necessarily. If you're doing business to business, point that to your LinkedIn profile, create all of your content as LinkedIn articles, optimize the crap out of your LinkedIn profile, and use that as your web presence under your domain name until you know enough, or until you are ready to build a web presence. Like, there's a million ways to do this. Just be really clear about the goals that you have first, and that will guide your decision making. And
in my about section on all of my pages, there's a link to my bio. Okay. And what that gives, like, an overview of me, the person. Okay. And usually, and I have to fix this, oh, here it is. There's a link to my LinkedIn profile.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I linked my LinkedIn profile from 2 places. One is in my about section, right? So this is an area where people can learn more about me and how's this good, and what's going on with me, but also they can see recommendations, and they can see my former occupation and that kind of stuff. For those of you who don't know what LinkedIn is, it's geared towards business people. Now, if you go back to my into my kudos, I also have a kudos section on my site that takes kudos that I've gotten from LinkedIn, some not from LinkedIn, but also at the end of my kudos section, it also says, if you want to read more LinkedIn, kudos, you can go to LinkedIn. So just so
yeah. So, and if you're not doing B2B, then LinkedIn is not the right place. So this comes back to the what you're offering and who you're offering it to.
Right.
If we're really clear about those things, the decisions about your online presence get far easier. And if you're a polypreneur like Michelle, being clear about your different businesses, or the different way you're serving, and then within those being clear also will help guide you and make decisions easier, because the hardest thing is to just be stuck in indecision. So if you probably need to spend a little bit more time thinking about what you're offering and who you're offering it to get that clarity.
Which, by the way, to just swing back and to close with the struggle thing for me. So I don't know. I don't call it a struggle. It's just the way it flippin' is, man. Like, if you're have an idea and you go out and you say, okay, I'm going to stop doing this thing and I'm going to do this thing. Okay. So I stopped running my ex-husband's pest control company, and I made a decision to run my own company and be a business consultant and do for others what I was doing for him. So my original intention was just to do project management for other people. I was an entrepreneur for hire. So in the process of doing that, I thought, well, how would I market myself? And in the process of creating that, I discovered how to link my art and my business together. And for a while, the two lived very well together. But then as my art started to kind of take the lead position in my revenue, I went, wait a minute, I have to go with what's working. So then I realized, okay, now I'm confusing people. So it took for a second to go, okay, how am I going to separate these things? So I had to kind of go, I had to observe how people were holding me, which is painful. It's really painful. Okay, because I had one conversation with a really good friend of mine that was so painful and so volatile. I was like, wow, like, huh, okay, I got to look at that. I got to look at where my part in that is and reprocess the information in a way that works, right? And what it did was it helped me to go, okay, I've got to more clearly separate these things for people. Because people like to be able to say, oh, Brandy's the social media chick, or Brandy's the digital media chick. They don't want to know the other things about you. And they wanted me to pick one flippin' thing. They wanted me to just do radio, or just do art, or just be a consultant, or just be a network marketer. They wanted me to choose one thing, and I'm like, but that's not my thing. I'm a polypreneur. That's my one thing. But what I did realize is I had to separate each one of those brands. So if somebody was talking to me about their health and fitness and they wanted a nutrition solution, I could send them right there. They didn't have to siphon through all the other stuff to go, wait a minute, what's going on? If somebody saw me as an artist and they wanted to see my art, they could go right there and see my art, right? If somebody was like, wow, you do a radio show, I could send them right there. And then I had this over website that covered everything. So it took a second for me, number one, to even be the thing that I was becoming. Okay. And I'm still doing that. I'm still in the process of, and I hope I'm always am evolving, right? And then once I was like, okay, wait a minute, I've got this health and nutrition thing happening. I have the radio thing happening, and I've got the nutrition thing happening, the radio thing happening, and my radio show happening. Those are the three things that are happening that I'm really focusing on. The consulting happens by accident if I happen to stumble upon a project at this point. But those three things were the big thing. So the big struggle was me becoming who I am currently, and then learning how I was going to separate it, and not letting the idiots who were being idiots deter me from my own growth process.
Well, I think this is a struggle for people who don't fit in a box, and who do have, in fact, several of my clients are two very different things, and we work to position them together, and it can be done. You just have to be really clear about what you have to offer. So you took the time to break down, here are the things I'm offering. And then here are the people I'm offering this to. Oh, and these people need to be able to get directly to that. And so that means that I need to have separate places where these things live. And then I can have a place where I talk about all of the things that are Micalizzi Enterprises. And then I can have a place that talks about what Michelle Micalizzi is all about. And so it was through that clarity of thought that you were able to break it down. So many of the people in our lives worry for our safety. They want us to be successful. And in their minds, that means that they can only understand the one thing.
Right.
Okay. We see them, we appreciate them, but we don't have to capitulate to whatever they think. We can go, all right, let's just take a minute. Let's use our other entrepreneur friends. Let's find our community of business owners, hash this through, and get that clarity that we need to then be able to make decisions for our business.
And so I'm being kind of tongue in cheek about the word idiot, because that's not really,
I know,
really 100%. But I'm also not being tongue in cheek about it. There are some people that, and it's not the case in this particular memory that I have. Okay. But there are some people who are mean spirited. And I think mean spirited people have come from two places. And I think most of them fall under the category over having their own struggles and confusion, their own crap going on. So their crap spills over to you. And it's so much easier to be nasty to you than it is to look at their own shit. So you become their project. You become their, and this hasn't happened with me, but I'm just talking to our listeners. Like there's your Aunt Sally who's like, oh, just go out and get a job. Or, they're those mean people that just every time you see them, they're a naysayer. They just, you're on a diet and they give you a piece of cake. Those people. right? Those people have their own dang struggles. And even though I joke and say idiot, okay, because it does feel at the time like when you got that guy in the parking lot that's being a jerk that he's an idiot, but it's probably because something horrible has happened in his life and he's spilling that horribleness over onto you. That's what most of those people who fall into that funny category of idiot are. They're just good people that are struggling on their own and they're spilling their crap into your vicinity. So you have to get to be Teflon. You have to, and it's hard, holy crap, because if you're having your own stuff going on, it's hard to become Teflon and just be like a duck and let the water run off your back. Now, there are a couple other people, and they're rare, that are just mean. They're just the bullies of the world, and they get off on trying to make you feel small. Delete, backspace, eliminate, get away from. Those people are not correctable. They are not worthy of your time, your energy, your heart, your tears. They are not worth it. Get away from them. You know, there's a couple, and I don't really think that I've had anybody, well, I've had a couple mean-spirited people in my life, but I don't think it's the norm. I think that people who are confused, they might genuinely be confused. I got to look at that and say, okay, how can I unconfuse them? There's some people that are mean-spirited by circumstance, and there's some people that are just mean. Don't be the mean girl. Dang it. Wear crazy headgear instead.
Wear crazy headgear.
Yeah. So we've gone on for 61 minutes, which is well over a half an hour, and I really appreciate your time. We talked a little bit about the Corona debauchery, which ate into our time. But is there anything that you want to close out with? First of all, if people want to work with Brandy, if what we've just said just gave you a headache, and you want to talk with her about, okay, I need to know more about this branding thing, you can reach out to Brandy on Facebook and you can PM her. But how else can people get a hold of you, Brandy?
You can definitely reach out on Facebook, or you can visit FieryFX, FIERYFX.com, where you can learn more about us, and you can also get on my calendar if that's something, or just reach out and connect.
Awesome. So maybe we gave you some food for thought. Maybe we just confused the shit out of you. Maybe you're just in love with our headgear and you want to do this and you want to be a green Medusa. I don't know, but I hope that you got some value out of it. And at the very least, we kept you out of your head for an hour. You know, and whatever you're doing at home, I hope that you're in pajama pants, because why the hell wouldn't you be? I mean, you're stuck at home. You might as well be comfortable, you know? I hope you're wearing flip-flops and you're not wearing like something snow related. But if you are, stay warm. And I hope you have a really great day. Come back again on the first Thursday in April, and we'll be talking about, what are we talking about? Do you remember?
Oh, I just closed our project board.
Let's see. Let me go back in there. You see, and here's the other thing. Like, this is why it's important to have a project. We don't even know what we're talking about next time because we were so busy talking about.
We made a plan.
We have a plan. So I can just go in here. I can look, and this is an example of being organized. And topics on 4/1. We're going to be reviewing my social media platforms.
So we can get into
for people that are stuck at home flipping out. Okay, we're going to review all my social media, and then you're going to think about yours, and you might do something differently or do something new, right? All right, Brandy, thank you so much for your time, sister.
You're welcome, Michelle.
I'm going to blink all day, I think. I think I might wear this.
I think you should. I think you should.
See you later, sister. Have a good day.
See you later.
All right, guys. So there's episode 2 of Digital Evolution. Come back again next Thursday, the first Thursday, which is the April 1st. We'll come back on April Fool's Day. I will have a really cool April Fool's Day hat. I'm thinking like something with a bell. I hope you guys are doing really great, and I hope that you're being happy somewhere, because you have a right to choose your attitude about this thing, and I'm choosing happy. I'm choosing joy. I hope you do too. Take care, everybody.